The night shift hums like a secret. Seat belts click. Overhead bins thud. The soft roar of the Dreamliner warms to life. Captain John Mercer runs a finger down the checklist. 30 years in the sky, and he still treats every toggle like it's sacred. Across from him, First Officer Emma Okoye cues ground crew, voice steady, eyes sharp. Atlantic looks kind tonight, Emma says, scanning weather. Smooth after Newfoundland. John smirks. In 3 months, I fish at dawn instead. My wife says I've earned boring sunrises. Retire? You. Emma teases. They'll have to pry you off the yoke. A chime. Boarding. In the river of passengers, a woman flows quiet as a shadow. Sophia Vale. Navy slacks. Gray sweater. Flat shoes. No jewelry. No edges to catch the eye. She files to 14B with a paperback and the practiced stillness of someone who knows how to disappear. Welcome aboard, the lead attendant beams. Sophia smiles politely. Nothing more. Her gaze drifts, never lingers. Businessman tapping like his phone owes him money. 2 kids wrestling earbuds. An old couple in matching neck pillows. Students with scuffed backpacks. Ordinary life at 38,000 feet waiting to happen. Then for men. Boarding apart. Dressing apart. Acting apart. But their wrists wear the same watch. Their posture holds the same tension. They never look at each other, but every move lands in a silent formation. Sophia notes the details, files them away, turns a page. John's voice fills the cabin, warm as a blanket. Good evening, folks. Captain Mercer here with First Officer Okoye. This is Flight 783 to London Heathrow. Flight time, 6 hours 43. Liftoff. Clouds blur to charcoal smears. Dinner trays clatter softly. Cabin lights fade to a dreamy blue. Passengers drift. Movies glow on screens. The Dreamliner purrs like a big cat asleep. Sophia appears to nap, 12 minutes at a time. Eyes close. Breath slows. Eyes open. Quick scan. Close again. 12 minutes. Repeat. A metronome of discipline. Then the air shifts. One man rises. Walks to the rear lav. 30 seconds later, another moves forward. 2 more stand opposite aisles. In a single practice breath, balaclavas slide on. Weapons appear from carry-ons the way knives appear from sleeves in old movies. Don't move. Hands up. The tallest one, voice like gravel, jaw set, grabs an attendant and presses metal into her ribs. Screams rip the cabin. A child sobs. Someone prays. This aircraft is under our control. In the cockpit, an alarm coughs red. Emma locks the door. John toggles security protocol. Cabin cameras flicker on, and the nightmare blooms across their screens. Passengers shoved together. Attendants forced to their knees. For men, 4 angles, 1 trap. And amid the chaos, 14B. Sophia sits calm, breathing measured, eyes like a chessboard. No panic. Only math. Emma, John whispers. 14 Bravo. Before Emma can answer, a voice cracks over the interphone. Mail. Controlled. Cold. Pilot. You will receive new coordinates. Deviate, speak to the ground, or keep that door closed when we say open, people die. Acknowledge. John's jaw tightens. I hear you. His thumb taps a coded transponder. To the outside world, a harmless mechanical issue. Inside, a silent scream for help. In the cabin, the leader divides them. Americans left. Europeans right. Everyone else center. Families split like pages torn from a book. Hands shake. A phone clatters to the floor. Sophia drifts with the American group. She stumbles, just enough to look human. Her passport slips. A masked man bends to pick it up. Their heads dip close. Her lips barely move. He freezes for a heartbeat, then hands it back and turns away. On the monitors, John leans in. She said something. Did you see that? Emma's eyes narrow. I know the tall one near the door. Militant offshoot. They don't do random. They do layers. The leader strides to the aisle. Your governments know our demands. Obey live. Resist, die. He fires a single shot into the ceiling. The crack shakes every bone in the room. Sophia doesn't flinch. Her focus anchors on an emergency exit 10 rows ahead. Distances. Sight lines. Timing. A second hijacker offers water to an elderly passenger. He bends, distracted. Sophia's body softens. Her breath deepens. Her hands loosen, ready. You. Stand up. The leader points at a young woman in a blazer. She trembles. Please. I have children, she whispers. He yanks her forward. Sophia moves. Liquid lightning. A bottle twists into a lever, crunching a wrist. A thumb spears a throat. Silent collapse. She strips the weapon like a magician palming a coin, pivots, solar plexus, elbow to temple. Two men drop before fear can even find a voice. For one suspended heartbeat, the plane is a photograph. Then screams. Gasps. A scramble to live. The leader, eyes burning, drags hostages to the galley. Stay back. Sophia's voice cuts clean. Heads down. Hands over your necks. Now. John stares at the feed. She's not a passenger. Emma swallows. Then who is she? The woman in 14B just changed the rules of survival. But what happens when the people writing the rules don't play fair? And what would you do if the only way out meant trusting a stranger? Emma keys the code into a secure check. The system spits back a result that tightens the air. It verifies a strategic response, Emma says, but the database flags her as dead. Kia 3 months ago. The camera finds Sophia's face. A tiny change in her eyes. Not surprise, acceptance. I went under after Caracas, she says, looking straight into the lens. Only the director knows I'm breathing. There's a leak feeding a cell we call Obelisk. Tonight is stage 1. The coordinates they gave your hijackers? A kill box in northern Libya. You land there, nobody walks away. Silence. The kind that pries open your chest. Emma's fingers fly. Secure line established. A new voice slides into their headsets. Warm steel. Flight 783, Strategic Command. Operative status. Obsidian class deep cover. You're authorized for Modified Contingency Protocol 6 at Captain's discretion. John exhales. Protocol 6 is the ghost story of airline training. Let a verified operative into the cockpit during an active hijacking. The rule you never, ever use until someone swallows the rulebook to save a life. Emma's eyes flick to him. If she's compromised. If she wanted us dead, we'd be statistics, John replies. She just chose not to be. He unlocks the door. A solid, surgical click. Sophia slips in. Up close, she is all angles and economy. A whisper of a scar along her jaw. Eyes that measure everything. Even the distance between John's hands and the throttles. Captain Mercer. First Officer Okoye, she nods. Thank you. I haven't decided to thank you back, John says. Convince me. Sophia taps their map. A thin green ribbon arcs toward Africa. This strip was once a black site. No fuel. No rescue. But you'll find hills full of heat signatures and men with orders to erase evidence. Obelisk thinks in profit, not prayers. They rent rage and pay in ash. Then where? Emma asks. Sicily. Naval Air Station Sigonella. Closest net with real teeth. She meets John's gaze. We ghost the cabin displays to keep the lie alive while you bend the compass. And the men with guns? I'm going back to talk, she says. Their leader, Michael, isn't just a weapon. He believes he's a soldier. When belief meets betrayal, things shift. She holds out a hand. From your medical kit, 2 EpiPens. We curing allergies or starting them? John asks. Buying seconds, she says, pocketing them. Seconds save planes. He studies her. The lines at the corners of his eyes deepen. Passenger safety first. Always, she says. And he believes her. Against training. Against reason. Emma feeds a false course to the cabin screens. To rows 1 through 40. The Dreamliner still threads a line to London. In truth, the aircraft eases a degree to the right. Then another. Miles become answers. Sophia palms the door. Pauses. If I don't come back, keep going. Military will meet you in the dark. Ms. Vale, John says. Some stories don't want an audience. She almost smiles. Good. I never liked applause. The door seals. The camera picks her up in the aisle. Hands visible. Shoulders dropped. She moves like a ripple, not a threat. Michael, she calls calmly. We need to talk. 10 feet. I don't come closer. He angles his weapon. 1 step, and I. Check your secure channel. Her voice is velvet over stone. Coordinates. Photos. Tunis. Apartment building. Your wife. Your daughter. A long beat. The associate, Robert, checks the device. His eyes widen. Live feed. 2 heat signatures. A child's toy on the table. Michael's stare hardens behind the mask. You lie. The rabbit with the missing ear? Sophia says softly. You tore it by accident before you left. You stitched it with dental floss. His hand shakes. Just barely. A window opening in a locked room. John grips the yoke he doesn't need to touch. Emma watches the numbers slide, altitude, speed, course, pretending to be what they aren't. Fighter jets, far out, take their places like patient wolves. Sophia's voice lowers. Obelisk told you they died to make you efficient. They sent you to a dead strip to make you disposable. Count the heat signatures in the hills. 12 at least. Not help. Hammers. Robert scrolls again. His breath catches. She's right. A hush takes the cabin, thick, expectant. What if I believe you? Michael says. You stand down, Sophia replies. You live. Your family gets lifted clean. You face judgment, yes. But they breathe. That's the only scoreboard that matters. Sophia's hands never move. Her pulse seems carved from granite. This isn't bravado. It's faith with teeth. 1 leader is a step from surrender. 1 lie away from blood. What would break first, belief or survival? And if you were him, what proof would you need to lower the gun? Minutes crawl like hours. Passengers clutch armrests. A baby hiccups a tiny cry, then quiets. Somewhere, plastic cutlery trembles against a tray. 20 minutes to Sigonella, Emma murmurs. Response team ready. Hold the lie, John says. Keep the cabin screen smiling. On the feed, Sophia holds Michael's gaze as if the truth itself is a rope between them. Your window is closing, she says. Once the escorts commit, I can't make promises. Michael's jaw seesaws beneath the fabric. Robert leans in, whispers, frantic, into his ear. The leader's eyes flick from Sophia to the device to the aisle to the ceiling, where a bullet hole gapes like a black eye. These could be faked, he says, voice too even. Then answer the math, Sophia replies. Why land where no fuel awaits? Why wait in a valley ringed with heat? Why stay silent after touchdown? Because the plan finishes with a flash you never see. Silence again. A pressure front inside everyone's chest. Michael lowers his weapon 1 inch. Another. He kneels, places it on the carpet. With the side of his shoe, he slides it forward. Metal hums over fabric. Tell the pilot to land safely, he says. No more blood. Robert follows, mask peeled back, pupils blown wide. He sits in 31A. Hands interlace atop his head. Michael takes 31B. 2 men that were storms becoming weathered statues. The cabin exhales like a single set of lungs. Sophia glides the weapons into a beverage cart, locks it with a snap. She lifts the phone. Captain. Contained. 2 seated. 2 unconscious and restrained. Request med on landing. Copy. John says, relief thick behind the professional cadence. We start down in 7. Keep the curtain up till final. Understood. She faces the passengers. Stay seated. Seat belts tight. Help is waiting on the ground. A flight attendant edges close. Who are you? Someone who got lucky, Sophia answers, already moving to check a dazed man's shoulder, a winded teen, the woman who almost became a warning. You're safe now. Outside, 2 escort fighters appear as gray slashes, then peel wider, deferential, as the Dreamliner begins its slow, royal descent. The landing gear answers with a satisfying thunk, solid as a promise. Flight 783, Sigonella Tower. A crisp voice says, cleared priority on runway 10. Emergency crews standing by. John's hands are steady. The runway lanterns stretch ahead like a string of blue pearls. He rides the glide slope with the patience of a man who's seen too many dawns to rush this one. Touchdown is a whisper. Brakes kiss. Reverse thrust murmurs. They roll to a secure bay where trucks and uniforms wait like a choreography. The screen shows white helmets, yellow jackets, purposeful strides. Rear doors open. Orders flow. The cabin becomes a living map of triage and relief. Emma powers down what can rest. John scans for 14B. She's with a cluster of shaken people near the forward galley. Voice low, palms open. He blinks, and she's gone. The camera finds only empty aisle, scattered bottles, the rabbit-eared silence of after. A colonel boards with the posture of a verdict. Captain Mercer. First Officer Okoye. With me. What about the woman? John asks. Sophia Vale. Passengers are being processed. The colonel says, face inert. Follow me. For hours of fluorescent questions and careful omissions. Every angle of the hijacking unpacked, repacked, sanitized. Every time John says her name, subtle tells ripple around the table. A pen stops. A gaze shifts. A throat clears. A woman in civilian black steps in. The room adjusts itself around her. Already used. The world is guardians, he realizes, who prefer the quiet exits to the loud entrances. One afternoon he hears 3 steps behind him on a narrow street. A soft, measured pace. He turns, slow. No one there. Just the echo of his own steps bouncing between walls the color of patient peaches. He smiles to himself. Okay, he says to the empty lane. Message received. Across town, in a cafe that never asks names, Sophia orders an espresso and opens a battered notebook. She draws a map, circles 2 cities, underlines a date. Somewhere, a phone she never lets out of her sight buzzes once. She reads the message, deletes it, looks up, watches people be ordinary with a tenderness that breaks your heart if you let it. You can almost hear the work resume, a machine in a room no one notices. A gentle click as a plan locks into place. Back in his apartment, John opens the balcony door wider. Wind lifts papers that no longer exist because they live where they should. He leans on the rail and laughs softly at nothing. Or at everything. He doesn't know if he'll ever see 14B again. That's not really the point. The point is that he did once, and the world tilted toward the light for just long enough to save everyone on it. He pours the last of the tea, now lukewarm. The gulls argue and forgive each other in high voices. The river carries cargo and secrets out to sea. He thinks of people you pass every day who are carrying more than bags, carrying outcomes, carrying doors that open for strangers they will never meet. He closes his eyes and lets the city breathe him in. Pause. Tell me, if a story asks you to choose between the rules on paper and the life in front of you, which would you choose? If you found yourself on Flight 783, who would you be? The calming voice, the quick thinker, the one who notices the watches, or the one who needs someone else to be brave? What does courage look like to you when nobody's watching?